friends and hard-headed campaign team, the so-called Irish Mafia, gathered at Hyannisport to await the returns. But it would be a long night.
It was the last time I called him Jack. I said, Jack, how can you go to bed now? I said, we crisscrossed this country for a couple of years. And what a great answer. He said, because it's too late to change another boat.
Morning would bring victory, but by the narrowest margin in the history of United States presidential elections. More pensive than jubilant, the president-elect considered the responsibilities of victory. Quickly, he began to choose members of his administration, some old associates, some new. Historian Arthur Schlesinger, a friend since his days as senator, recalls Kennedy's invitation to join the executive team.
He said, I hope you're going to come down and be in the White House. And I said, I would be greatly thrilled to do that, but I'm not altogether clear what I will be doing. And to which he replied, well, I'm not altogether clear what I will be doing either, but I'm sure there'll be plenty to keep us both busy.
Perennial Jack Kennedy. He never had any money in his wallet. And so when they started to pass the collection, and as you can imagine, going to church in Georgetown, every eye in the church was on the president, the new president of the United States. And we're sitting there, and he leaned over and he said, Redhead, slip me a 10. And I reached in my wallet, and all I had was a 20. And I knew that was the end of my 20, that I'd never see it again. So he takes the 20. When he drops it in, I have nothing to give. And he said, then he leans over to me and he says, I want them to know they have a generous president.
Last year, the best factory racing teams in the world competed for the World Rally Championship. Peugeot won. This commitment to performance has helped Peugeot produce the 505 Turbo, a car Road and Track has described as leaving many cars of more sporting reputations far behind. So why buy a performance sedan that just promises performance when you could buy one from a company that delivers it? Peugeot.
Attention, all Circuit City employees. The moment we've been working for is here. Your weight training will be put to the test, because right now Circuit City is running its massive Memorial Day sale with savings in all departments. Your road work will be put to good use too. Save now on this Magnavox 13-inch color TV with remote control, just $249.97. So get plenty of rest tonight and be prepared for pandemonium in Circuit City.
You come to Magic Mountain, come and watch us dance. Watch Magic Mountain when you get the chance. So much you can do there, shows to make you laugh. Rides to spin you around, rides to make you wet. Your turn, Bugsy. This year there's a new ride coming just for you. Ooh, come to Magic Mountain.
Some stores sell paint, but Standard Brands has quality paint at $2.99 a gallon, and $3.99 a gallon, and $4.99 a gallon, and $5.99 a gallon. In fact, Standard Brands has the greatest selection of money-saving choices available, and every paint is unconditionally guaranteed. Imagine, as low as $2.99 a gallon. With prices like these, why wait? Standard Brands. When it comes to paint, we set the standard.
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
That you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of your ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
In Washington's wintry sunlight, the ritual was old, but the voice was new. At 43, the youngest president in United States history, his words echoed in the mind and heart, awakened old beliefs. In them, we seem to rediscover some forgotten dimension within ourselves.
Yet amid the high summons of Inauguration Day, Kennedy had not lost his sense of the comic, of occasional self-mockery that would become the hallmark of his administration and his personal style.
Then we went back to the White House, to the Oval Office, and Teddy came back with us, and we were in the Oval Office, and Jack sat down in the chair and spun around at his desk, and he said, "Redhead, do you think it's adequate?" And I said, "Any second, somebody's going to walk through these doors and say, 'Are you three out of here?'"
It was Mr. President, and every day he looked more like Mr. President than the day before. And one time, a member of the press asked him what his favorite song was, and he said, "I think that Hail to the Chief has a nice ring to it."
Though previous and later administrations were often plagued by reports of intramural rivalries and feuds, few such problems dogged the Kennedy team.
It was generally understood that the Secretary of State was the senior advisor to the President on foreign policy matters. George Bundy, Bob McNamara, and I worked with each other very closely. We were very conscious of the fact that we were serving the same president.
Kennedy and Johnson liked and respected each other. Kennedy thought Johnson was something of a rogue, but he was entertained by him. He thought he was a highly intelligent, powerful man, and valued his opinion on things.
We once wrote in Time a little item that Bobby was the second most powerful man in the world. And I happened to have an appointment to see the president that morning, and I went in, and he was on the telephone. And he looked up rather contemptuously at me and said, "I'm speaking with the second most powerful man in the world this morning. Do you want to tell him anything?" I said, "Not this morning, Mr. President." There was a little more conversation, and John Kennedy looked up and said, "Bobby wants to know who number one is."
I want to express my great satisfaction in signing the bill to increase the minimum wage to $1.25 an hour.
Quickly, the president moved on a broad front of domestic issues: health insurance, housing, aid to education, the minimum wage. Though he advocated an arms buildup against communism, he also knew that against hopelessness and hunger, the silent allies of tyranny, there are better weapons than a gun.
Peace Corps was very close to Kennedy's heart. He had this belief, and I think it was a true belief, that there were these untapped reserves of idealism in the American people. One of the things he was particularly concerned about was